Right, great question come through on the gram, so I'm going to answer it and I'm going to stick it on YouTube. And it's winter, it's probably going to rain, but don't really care. Lockdown 3 is not going to stop this happening. So, question is, how do you know when you're at the top of the backswing? That's a good point. That's a great question, because there are too many different tops of the backswing for us to have an idea of that's what it should look like. So for me, what would I be looking for someone to sort of gauge whether or not they're in an efficient top of the backswing position? That's probably what would be more of a question to me. Now, you take the guys on tour, right? You've got someone like, let's take Jon Rahm, okay? Really sort of short arm swing, a little bit almost laid off, really, really powerful player. So you'd see more of that sort of a look at the top of the backswing. Really short arm swing, nice and wide. If you had sort of a left arm swing, it'd be that type of movement. And then you've got someone like DJ, freak of nature, who's able to take himself to the same position, but then move it even more so. Now, he's able to create more rotation, and he's got a flexibility method that is, well, it's a bit test tube baby-ish really for anyone really down this lens to try and copy. You've got to be super powerful and super flexible to get in some of these positions. But a couple of the checkpoints I would ask myself and you to have a think about before you go ahead and say, well, that's what I would like to try and copy. Because the worst thing you can do is watch the golf this weekend, see Justin Thomas win, for example, and he's got a super high handle, super high left arm at the top of the backswing, great rotation, and everyone's saying, well, I've got to be like him. The following week, again, let's use Jon Rahm, you'd see a little more of a short and follow through, backswing, and everyone's saying, oh, okay, I just need to be more like Jon Rahm. What you need to do is listen to your own body, okay? Now, what I like to see as a golf coach is someone that controls width of arc. So you're going to set up super simple, okay? You're going to set up super simple. I'm going to pop a vertical line straight through the middle of my body relative to the camera, okay? So that line is straight through, relatively through the middle of my body. Now, you have set up with two relatively straight arms at address. The job and role of those at the top of the backswing is, in theory, one will fold a little bit and one should keep the radius. Now, once you understand that principle, it becomes a fairly simple idea. At what point do you lose that radius? For me, if I turned the pelvis, and I think this is a good drill for anybody, hold the golf club in one hand and just turn the body and turn the chest and the pelvis at all the same rates. This is not an arm movement, this isn't a pelvis movement, this is trying to get everything to move at the same rate. And then just when the body stops, you stop, okay? I could probably go a little bit further. That's about as far as my arm swing will go, and I'll maximize my efficiency. Okay, that might look short, but what have I done there? I've got great hip rotation, okay? Definitely got good hip rotation, okay? I've definitely got really nice upper body rotation. So on both of those, I'm rotating, but I've definitely managed my width. I could compromise that by going shorter. So from this angle, I would rotate my body and I could compromise it, or I could add in more hinge to give myself the look of a good top of the backswing position. But a natural move for me is that type of move. So why would I try and change that, and rather than spend my next month trying to get a longer and longer and longer backswing? The reason some of these guys are able to get into a better position than maybe that is they're able to do a longer golf swing without compromising their top of the backswing. I see far too many people trying to get their hands at the top of the backswing, or wherever they consider the top, by breaking down their left and lead arm and their right arm in terms of losing width, okay? I'll see so many people take it a nice way on the way back and then slowly break down their arms, the right arm retracts in order to get the golf club parallel, okay? Not an ideal position. If you start and break down, you'll probably throw on the way down. If you throw on the way down, you're going to change the sequence and just make things a nightmare, okay? So if you wanted an idea of when you should stop or how these guys get longer, simple process. Pop your right arm underneath the shaft up to the top of the backswing until you feel like you're almost fully rotated. Now, that would be my top of my backswing. If I had better rotation, and let's say I let my left and lead heel get off the ground here to show you, let's say I could go to here. That was my top of the backswing position. Well, now it looks across the line, but is it? I've now rotated even more. My right arm hasn't retracted, and I've managed to keep my width. So here's one. That's the top of my backswing position. You can see my elbows in front of my chest. It hasn't retracted, and I'm able to get a really nice width at the top of the backswing. If I had more rotation and I had a better flexibility method, that would be my top of my backswing. But it's not, and I'm gassed. So have a top of the backswing position for you that doesn't put you in a body bag while trying to get there, that keeps you nice and wide at the top of the backswing, and you feel like you're able to repeat forever. Don't copy DJ because he's amazing. Don't copy Rory because he has great flexibility. Copy yourself. Whatever you can do, you can do. Just make sure it's nice and wide.